Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome, livestock friends, to this edition of Before the Bid. And before the bid tonight, we are going back into the swine world. As most of you know, the pig sales are hot right now, and it is pig sale season. And so tonight we're going to go to Ohio, and we're going to go to Conover, Ohio, and we're going to talk to a guy that has had a sale for 30 years now, and he is also in his 31st year of being a 4-H advisor. So want to thank him for all that he does to go back and give back to these young people. He's a young man that's shown all over Ohio, all across the country. He's a Sunglow feed salesman as well, and he has the Genetic Power Pig Sale that's going to be held Saturday, April 18th at 10 o'clock in Conover, Ohio. And I want to welcome to the show today Chris Wintrow. And Chris, how are things over in Ohio?
Right now we're extremely soggy, humid, and it's nothing but mud wall to wall for us.
Right. Yeah, I think that's kind of one of those things across the country. I was seeing some things on Facebook today, and they had they had Texas stuff that they had some cows swimming out of there. So Chris, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of Before the Bid, and to start out, and I usually always have everybody start out, kind of introduce your family and your program just a little bit, and those that are involved right there with your program.
Like I said, I'm Chris Wintrow, and I appreciate you taking time out to do this, Andy. I raised pigs all my life, and that's 50 years or so, give or take, and we run about 10 to 15 sows, pures and crosses, mostly Yorkshires, Durocs, Polands, and a few crosses. We've done it forever. My wife, Deanna, and my 13-year-old son, Clark, help. My wife's the brains on the inside, and now my son's discovering what hard labor is. So we appreciate his help, especially since he's been off school here for all this week and probably the remainder of the summer. So I welcome the help.
Right. Sounds like you might have him for a while now.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they will not be going back to school till next August.
Right. One of those unfortunate things. So,
yeah, day by day.
Yeah. Well, will you take us back a little bit? You kind of gave us just a little bit of history there, but will you give us a little more history? Where did Chris Wintrow and Wintrow Show Pigs get their start?
We always raised Hampshires. We used to buy our Hampshire sows off Andrews and Bond. For those people who remember that goes back a few years, lots of years. And used to buy them off Don Gosomsky also. And my father and, my brother and my sister and my whole family, we just kind of raised pigs. We loved pigs. And once they got out of it, my passion stayed. And I took it to another level as far as the show pig thing. I had several mentors growing up. Dick Kemp was a huge influence. Daryl Furlong. They did a lot for me. I worked with Ron Pierce over here. I've kind of taken a lot from some of those guys, and they've kind of helped mold me to where I am today.
Because you haven't always been in the show pig business.
No. We raised, back when we first started doing this, we had show circuits for breeding stock around all the county fairs in Ohio, and we would take a show string of Hampshires, and that's all my brother and I would do all summer. Would go around and take, 5 or 6 gilts and boars and yearling sows to different county fairs and show, and we even helped some neighbors show some of their Yorkshires, and that's what we kind of did. The show pig was really not in terms back then. It was more of a breeding stock and market animals. The term show pig kind of came later, and we kind of jumped into that.
Okay, but you guys do still raise some females and show some females and things
Yep.
like that.
Yep, females are a heart of our herd, and we've been blessed to put in some key foundation females that I've built around and kept, that's influenced our Yorkshire and Duroc herd here, and it's been nice to have those females in there.
Yeah, why don't you talk about some of that genetic base that you've got put together?
Our original female came from the Garretts. They had sold a female. It was down out at the Duncan, Oklahoma, years and years ago. She was out of Slam Dunk, and she was about a $4,000 gilt. I remember watching her sell, and the people who bought her were just about 20 minutes from me, 30 minutes from me, and they had a litter of pigs out of her, and he saw me somewhere, and he said, "Hey, I got some gilts you need to come look at." And we all went up there, and at that time I had never really spent a whole lot on pigs, and he goes, "I'll give you choice. These here got some bad underlines, but they're good gilts. These, a couple of the litter mates were good underlines." And I said, "Well, how much?" He said, $500. And of course, I about fell over.
Right.
But, back then but I'm thinking I've spent $4,000 on the mother. So,
Right.
what's $500? So I bought her, purchased her, and we called her Farah. And we brought her home. We showed her down at the summer type conference, and I think she was 4th or 5th in class. And that's when Dick Kemp kind of come into play there at Top Cut. And he started helping me match her up, seeing what I had and some of the females that she was putting out. And we just started building from there. And, here we are today. I mean, we went from having champions at state fair to, winter type conference to, that Yorkshire female kind of just like put us on the map.
Cool. She's kind of led you to some success here, as you kind of hit on. Tell us a little more. Tell us a little more about that success today. You were telling me some really cool stories earlier. Yeah,
I mean, we had champion Barra overall there at the High State Fair in 2008, and the Voight girls were a big part of our success with that, and and it was a purebred Yorkshire Bear to boot. So, and I remember, I think Jay Winter and Warren Beeler were the judges, and that hog was he was unique because he was probably a little bit ahead of his time, where his skeleton was correct. He wasn't the heaviest bone one, but my Yorkshires have always had a great ham loin junction in them. And that came from that original female that I bought. And we still have that today. I've kind of made that a pride because Yorkshires can get a little crazy there in that ham loin junction at times. Mm-hmm. And I mean, once we had that champion barrow there in 2008, purebred Yorkshire. And then the following year, the influence kept on going, and we had champion Yorkshire Barra again. I mean, he was 5th overall. We've had champion Yorkshire Gilt at the High State Fair, the Winter Type Conference. It's been, and we've won some county fairs with some purebred Yorkshires. They were fitting the times, and they were fitting, obviously, what we wanted to do.
Well, it sounds really good. Yeah, you were telling me earlier about a Denver story, champion out of Denver, something that comes back.
Yeah, we this year the Kevin Zurcher family had bred the champion Duroc barrow there at Denver, and that female came from our the mother of that barrow came from our herd, and that really kind of made us happy because we'd been working on the red herd for about 3 or 4 years. And again, that kind of goes back to the initial female that we bought. And actually, we bought the initial female to start our red herd from Kevin. And the genetics behind her, and I remember Nick Mock was a Sunglow feed rep at the time, and we were looking at her, and he goes, "You need to buy her." So I did, and we kind of kept breeding her. Those hogs would flesh naturally. The growth was good, and of course they'd lay down and raise pigs with no problems. She was a triple bred Jesse James Mississippi Outlaw, and there's probably not a lot of that around today still, but that influence is still around the country a little bit. But all my red stuff goes back to that initial sow. So I've had a white sow and a red sow now that we've initially bought that kind of started the whole thing here. In production here, we have the grandmother to that champion bear in Denver. She just had her, unfortunately, last litter. She was very old, but I've got 3 full sisters to that dam of that champion bear here that have pigs on them, and we couldn't be more happier.
Oh wow, that's good. Yeah, you got Yorks, you got the Reds, you've got some other breeds as well, right?
Yeah, we got some Polands. My son, for some reason, he saw Polands and kind of fell in love with them, and I'm like, okay, no problem. We can do this, and everybody needs to raise a litter of Polands. And I'm sure the guys that have Polands will laugh because we have to have a big box, a bottle of oxytocin, and about 3 beers, and then I'll go out and farrow her because when she's having pigs, she will try to eat every one of them.
Really?
So, and it's happened with her mother and her grandmother. It's just the same thing. Once they get through that, I'll give her a shot of oxytocin, which calms her down, and she'll sit up, and I'll feed her about 3 Leinengoogles, and it calms her down, and she lays down, and then she's the best mother you ever want to have raise pigs.
Oh wow!
I mean, they will milk and raise pigs and raise quality, but there's one reason why I got 1 Poland sow. If I had any more, I'm not sure I could keep my sanity.
Right, and it's hard to say no to those. It's hard to say no to those little guys when they fall in love with something.
I mean, he fell in love with the red ones too, because initially when he was born, I mean, all he saw was white hogs and blue butts here.
Right.
And I remember the first litter of red pigs we had, and he was probably 3, maybe 4, and he's up in the crate wiping the red pigs off, and then we thought, oh, that's nice. And he kept wiping them off, and he got real upset. And we're like, what's wrong, buddy? He goes, Dad, I can't get the dirt off of them. I'm like, Clark, they're Durocs, buddy. They were supposed to be red. And he was puzzled, but then he kind of went, oh, okay, and kind of walked on. He thought they should be white. So, yeah, it's been interesting, but every year he's got to have a Poland and or Hampshire peering or a Duroc to show. He will not show white hogs or blue butts.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
wow.
And that's fine. I mean, that's his choice. It's his project. So
now he's in how old a young man is he?
He's 13.
Okay.
He just turned 13. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was thinking it looks like he's in his teens. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Well, that gives you the other pigs to be able to sell then, right?
Right. I mean, we try to be fair to our customers here. I've had one customer in particular that raises and shows a lot of good sheep, Kevin Gump, and he he told me one time, he goes, if I don't have a chance to bid on your best pig, why should I come to your sale?
Right.
And I kind of took that to heart. And we try to offer our very best. A lot of times if I see a pair, I'll offer the choice pair, and then the other one stays here. And people have kind of responded to that. There's that always, is that fair to your child? Is that this? Well, yes and no. He's okay with it. He would tell me if he wasn't.
Uh-huh.
So as long as he's got some decent pigs to show, he's pretty happy.
Right. Right. When you can raise winners yourself, why, that's a lot of fun.
Right.
But when you can sell them, that's as fun. And then, I'm with you. That gets to be a kind of a little touchy place there. So
I mean, if I had 100 sows, it'd be one thing. But when you only got 10 to 15 sows, it's hard when you start pulling out the top end. That's hard to sell the rest of the pigs.
Right. Right. Why do you only have 10 to 15 sows?
Well, I work full time.
Okay.
So, I was a probation officer for 27 years, and now I'm a regional sales manager and for an equipment company. And if I could do this full time, yeah, I'd probably have more sows. But 10 to 15 sows is kind of my sweet spot, and that's where it seems a little bit manageable. Honestly, I might even go down to a few less sows, but that seems to be a good number for me.
Right. Also, let's give a little bit of credit. You also sell some feed there out of the garage for show pigs.
Yeah. Yep. We've been selling. I've been a Sunglow distributor for lots of years. We've been pulling feed out of the Lewisburg plant there in Ohio since the late 90s. When Akey's owned it, and we've kind of blossomed from there, and I've sold feed for like Gene Rao there across the border there in Ohio, and we've kind of built it to where we are today. My wife and I worked really hard. I figured if we're going to sell show pigs, I want to be able to provide a good quality product for them to feed the animals if they wish to. If you buy pigs from me, you don't have to feed Sunglow. You can feed whatever you want to feed. But that's what we kind of started doing, and we kind of continued from there. We've built a pretty good clientele.
Right. Yeah, and get those pigs the right nutrition so that they can go out and do good for you.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of feed companies out there, and the way I look at it, it's kind of like buying a truck. They're all pretty good. It's just whatever fits your program and what you like. They all have products that are better than the other one, but I'm most comfortable with Sunglow, and I know how it works and how to feed it, and I've built the relationships with those people, and I'm not gonna lie, yeah, we sample other products and feeds, and we keep coming back to the Sunglow here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they seem to make a big swath across the show pig industry.
Right.
So yeah. Well, Chris, where do you see this program going in 5 or 10 years? What do you look to be doing? What do you think is going to change?
Obviously, with our program, when my wife and I, pre-Clark, we bred early ones to take to a lot of customer appreciation sales for the boar studs. And, we've been to Purple Power, we've been to Top Cuts, we always went to McCoy's, and we always got along really well selling pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of got away from that, and because our customer base, they wanted them young. Now they want them older. Now they want
right.
And it's like, so I think that's what I want to start doing, is getting back to taking some of these older pigs, breeding some older ones for some of these customer sales and online stuff, but yet having a nice core group here to sell here at the house. I think that would be ideal for us. I think that would maximize, hopefully, our profit margins, and give some of our better sows a chance to get some of those older females or males out, and kind of see what other people like.
Mm-hmm. And you've got to breed pigs for different places and different states, because you're not just selling to local people there, right?
Right. I mean, we obviously the main majority of our pigs stay here in our county, which our county here is I don't know, I kind of brag on it a little bit. It's quite unique, because at the Ohio State Fair, I mean, we've had a grand or reserve champion in every species over there, and that's all the way to rabbits, chickens. I don't think we've had a grand yet with the goats, but we usually do pretty well. Sheep, obviously, yes, with the Gump family. We've had champion barrows come from this county, and then obviously the steer portion with the Clark family, and so forth. We're always and some people refer to our fair at times like the little state fair,
right?
Because people they're serious, and the ones that go out and show outside the county in our county usually are pretty successful wherever they go. So, but yeah, I mean, we usually sell into 4, 5, 6 counties. I mean, it really depends on the year. We've had champion up at New York State Fair before, and we've had pigs that we've sent to Georgia. There's a gentleman down there that buys them, and he's happy. He's a return customer. He buys them sight unseen. I've got a couple customers that buy them sight unseen, and we won the Duroc show up at Williams County Fair for like 4 years in a row, and he never saw the pig till he come to pick it up. So
wow.
I always try to keep my customers happy, plus broaden our horizons a little bit here.
Folks wanted to break into this just a little bit here, and there has been a change since we have first recorded this podcast with Chris Wintrow, and so they have changed things due to the COVID-19 activities that are going on, and so I wanted Chris to jump back on here and be able to explain to you how this sale is going to work this time. Chris, why don't you go right ahead?
All right. We have obviously decided, like many people, to do an online auction. However, we've kind of changed things up a little bit. We've secured a non-traditional online auction site. It's called 32 Auctions. It's kind of a do-it-yourself site where, you pick how your sale wants to run, and you put your own pictures on and those type of things. And we just felt we didn't want to, there's so many online sales at different places that we didn't want to get lost in the shuffle. Not with the set of pigs that we feel that we have here. We just wanted to make sure everybody had a fair shot at these guys. We are opening the barn up on Friday, April 3rd. And we'll close the barn on, I believe, Tuesday, the 14th of April. The online auction will actually conclude on Saturday, April 18th at noon. We will have the link on our Facebook page out there. And anybody who was on our previous mailing list, they will also have the link to go to it. You have to have the link to get to the sale, because it's like a semi-private virtual bid board is pretty much what it's going to be. Once people go to that and get registered, we'll have all hogs on the sale site on April 15th. Pictures, ear notches, descriptions. That way people can go on and bid and have 3 or 4 days to kind of do their bidding. What we'll do then on Saturday, April 18th, the auction will conclude, the online portion will conclude at noon. And then we were going to turn it into extended bidding. And that's when it becomes a live auction. You will be able to bid on animals starting at noon, but it has to be a call or text to me or my wife, which will have all those phone numbers provided for you on our Facebook page. And then we will continue to bid off the animals until the 30 minutes lapses or bids cease. And that way, if you don't get your favorite one, you can jump on and get your second favorite one. If you need further information, obviously we will relish taking phone calls from everyone and explaining to it more. But we're just trying to give everybody a chance to get the pigs that they want.
Okay, well, good. Will you give us those open barn dates again, please, Chris?
April 3rd, Friday, April 3rd. We're taking appointments. Obviously, we'll bring people in one group at a time, and we're going to have everybody kind of spaced out for the social distancing and stuff. And we'll close the barn on April 14th. So that's going to give everybody basically 2 full weekends and a full week to get to the barn to see the hogs, and that way they can kind of make their pick. And it's another wrinkle to the sale is we'll have a set amount of pigs put on, but if you see a pig that hey, why aren't you putting this pig in the sale? Go ahead and give us that ear notch number. We'll put it on the sale for you guys to bid on, and you can add to it yourself if you feel that there's hogs on there that aren't on there that should. You can give those ear notches to us, and we'll put it on the sale.
Wow, that sounds like a really neat, as you said, non-traditional type of an online sale.
Yes, a friend of mine that's big in the sheep business, he gave me some guidance on that. He said a lot of the sheep breeders are doing that. They're letting people come in and give them tag numbers, and they'll put them on a sale site, and they'll get a link sent to them, and they'll bid them off from there. And it's kind of like a private deal. And we kind of did the same thing, but we're kind of taking it a little extra step.
Can they watch those pigs on starting at noon? Can they watch the bidding on those pigs?
They can, yeah. It'll run just like a normal auction will. They can, except for when we close that at noon. I see what you're saying. When we close that at noon, no, it's just going to be bidding by phone or text. And what we'll try to do is if we have 2 people on one pig, I'll try to get a person, and my wife will try to get a person on the phone, and we'll just kind of do it by phone.
Okay.
We don't foresee a whole lot of that going on, but then that but we're going to do the best we can. Our goal is to make sure it's fair for everybody, and try to get everybody their hogs that they want.
You got a great flyer, different things like that. Where can we find some of that stuff if we're listening and we just want to go look at some of this stuff?
Well, we currently don't have a website as of right now. We're in the process of doing that, and but we do have a Facebook page, Wintrow Show Pigs, and then I have a personal Facebook page of Chris Wintrow. And if you find one, you're going to find both, and I try to post farm stuff on both of them. That way people kind of keep up to date on what we're doing, and especially now this spring with uncertainty of how we're going to do the sale and the structure it's going to be. But those are the best ways to do it. I do post stuff on Twitter and Instagram and occasionally Snapchat when my son decides to help me out with that. But he thinks I ought to use the filters on it and send pictures out, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I try to post on those 3 things, both Facebook pages and Instagram and Twitter, just to kind of keep stuff up. But you can find me on all those and start following me and keep up your information with that way.
Cool. Yeah, tell us about this flyer. This flyer that you have got put together for the ad for this sale is really, really neat.
Well, my wife is, and she won't admit to it, but she is very well versed when it comes to computers. And, we kind of had a vision, so to speak, of what we wanted to do with 2020. What's your vision in 2020? And we kind of made it to where it was like a seeing eye chart. What's your vision in 2020? And she has a real good friend at work that is a whiz kid on this kind of stuff that did this kind of stuff in the past, and that's kind of what she does where she works. And we kind of give her vision. We send her the pictures and the captions, and then we just kind of critique it from there. And honestly, she did this in about 3 nights.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of would text back and forth or email back and forth what we want, and she would email us hard copies, and that's kind of, and even like our sale flyer last year, I thought it was tremendous too, because we used to do the Primetime magazine with Craig Ryder, but
Mm-hmm.
they stopped doing that, and we would kind of let them do their thing with the flyer. But we kind of like our vision of what we want to do, and that's where we kind of come up with the theme for this year.
Yeah, it's really neat, and yeah, the eye chart and things, and then you've got some winners down there on the bottom as well.
Yep. We concentrate. A lot of people come here just for purebreds, and that's fine. I mean, we usually do well with the purebreds around the county fairs. I'm the president of our Breeders Association here, and it's been going on for quite a few years, and we decided to put breeds into our county fair, and our breed show is actually bigger than our crossbred show now.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the breeders around the county will have specific breeds and raise them, and that was kind of one of my niches, so to speak, was the Yorks and the Durocs and the Polands, and we've had some success over the years, and we feel we got a pretty special group of Durocs and Polands this year, and the Yorkshires are right in the mix too, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, tell us about some of those pigs that you've got decided, and those litters that you're going to have pigs from in this sale that's going to be, again, the Genetic Power Sale.
We've got several litters here. We got about 12 litters here that we're probably going to offer a lot of pigs out of. Probably some of our more exciting litters, obviously I'm the breeder, so I think they're all exciting, but
right.
We've got some litters here. The old red sow that, is the grandmother to the champion bearer there at Denver. Like I said, this was her last litter, unfortunately. All the females will stay here. However, she had 2 barrows, and that's about all she ever gives me. But these dudes, they're out of Plan B out of Thompson Brothers, and I fell in love with that boar last fall when I went over and looked at him, and we mated him to her, and these guys are just, what I've been trying to do. I've got the look, we've got the stoutness. They're born the 1st of February there. These 2 barrows here are going to be extra special. Obviously, we're getting ready to put them all on chips, and we're probably a little behind on doing that, but that's, unfortunately that's the way it goes. But we're getting ready to put them on chips, and they're an interesting group. I mean, that red group, hip design, ankle placement, bones, head carriages are just second to none. So it's going to be interesting once they really start hitting the feeders and how they develop. We got a purebred Yorkshire litter, probably one of the last Doc 100K litters, sows out there. We bred her to sheepdog down at Nate Joseph's, and they're also born there the 1st of February. And she only gave us 1 barrow out of that, and I was hoping for more Yorkshire barrows, but that's how it goes. But we're going to have a nice set of Yorkshire females out of that. We're going to offer several of those in our sale. If people are always looking for those 1st of Februarys, these February purebreds are going to be really good for like the NJS Eastern Regional there in New York. So that's like I think in October, and we've got the Poland litter. They are, after I got Mom calmed down, she gave us no gilts and all barrows.
Oh wow.
So yeah, And quite honestly, I've never seen Poland barrows like this in my life. We used Forget About It there at Jim McCoy's. Mom's a stress negative. That boar was a carrier. And boy, did he transmit heaviness of structure, obviously muscle. And these dudes are just, when they stand next to the crossbreds, other than floppy ears, you really can't tell them apart. They're extra special. I mean, there's 5 barrows in there we're going to offer. There's 2 in there I think are next level. All good quality barrows, but there's 2 in there I think are going to be next level. That's probably going to be a choice pen for my son because he's got that Poland fever.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we're really pleased, and I can pick out what I think's the best one now, but it's not up to me in August. It's up to the judge. So I've been wrong before.
Right.
We have another Plan B litter out of a Stick This sow. She is a full sister to the mother of the Denver champion. And we decided, obviously, I bred her to Plan B, and for that stoutness and of skeleton and length of neck and front end, and I think we had a home run here.
Mm-hmm.
These barrows are as square and big ribbed as I've seen red hogs. They just, they put their feet down where they're supposed to be. They are, when they come and go with authority. Week in February, they're exciting. I mean, red hogs change so much anyhow. Mm-hmm. Long ago, they told me, look at them when they're 3 weeks old, and then don't look at them again until they're about 8 weeks old, and because they change so much, and I've kind of taken that to heart. We come to a crossbred litter here, and they're at a Kingpin, which is down at McCoy's, out of probably one of my most influential crossbred lines. We've won a lot of shows with this crossbred line. They go all the way back to Major Feet Solid Gold that was there at Top Cut. But obviously, once again, it all started with that Yorkshire base. She's Yorkshire influenced sow, but these pigs always lay down, have good quality pigs that raise. We're actually going to try to feed a boar out of this litter. I never feed boars because I always cut them and sell them as barrows. I mean, I know I can get what I want out of them as barrows, but this guy is probably the most unique pig we've put on the ground as far as bone and rib and shape. But he's got some litter mates in there that are going to be extra special. We've got a blue butt crossbred litter here. They're having an amped up sow. We bred her to Above the Law. And, Jim McQuinn, she's down that Above the Law is down at McCoy's. And Jim told me, he goes, Above the Law needs to be bred to a larger scaled, longer fronted Yorkshire sow, in which this gal was. Mm-hmm. And holy smokes, I mean, I have never seen stoutness and rib shape on pigs like this before in my life. They're blue butts. So, of course, that's out for my son. He doesn't want anything to do with those guys.
Right. You don't have to worry about saving one, do you?
Yeah.
They're all open.
This poor gal, we had issues with her in the beginning. And, of course, every show pig producer goes through it. The first pig she had, I'm a big guy. I'm a 300-pound guy, and I'm probably stronger than the average guy. And I couldn't get these guys out. I mean, I could get almost up to my elbow in her, so I know she was big enough to have them. So we took her to Ohio State for a C-section. And when they pulled these pigs out, I have never seen pigs this large. Sows would have had trouble having these pigs. And I felt sorry for her because, I mean, she's been a fantastic mother ever since we got her back home. And actually, I think we're going to give her another shot. She's done so well. But these blue butt hogs, there's 3 barrows and a gilt in there. you can flip a coin. I mean, they check all the boxes, I should say, with stoutness, rib cage, soundness, length of front end. They got the boldness and stuff of above the law, and I think they're going to be a sale feature, all 4 of them. I usually don't let crossbred females. I don't keep too many of them, but I'm going to let her go. And but it's going to be interesting to watch them. Mm-hmm. They're pretty special. We have the next litter is out of Dark Chocolate. It's a crossbred litter. Dark Chocolate is a litter mate to Kingpin there at McCoy's. And the sow is a litter mate to, I think we talked earlier about that little spotted up barrow that the Douglas girls showed for me here a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And that barrow was extra special, and we kept some females, litter mate sisters to him, and we made a dark chocolate to that sow, and got a bunch of dark crosses, and they fit the bill. The soundness and structure and density that they have is awful good. Again, we're going to have a mass weaning here in the next few days and get them on the chips and stuff. We have a younger red litter here. She's another stick this sow. She's my son's show gilt from last year. She was a carbon copy of the gilt we sold to Zurcher family that had the champion there at Denver. In fact, I felt she was better through her front 2/3 than that sow was, and we made it her to family tradition there at Schaefer's Gold Rush. And from the day they were born to today, they were born about the 12th of February. I have never had the consistency of a litter of these pigs. I mean, if they were not ear notched and they come at you, you couldn't tell any of them apart.
Oh, wow.
I mean, they are stout. Their skeletons are just impeccable. They've got a great show pig look to them. The length of body is correct on them. The barrows are just fun to watch. My son's kind of taken the liking to that group. So, he may like certain groups. They may not be the best ones in the barn, but you know what? They're his project, so I'm going to let him pick out what he wants. So there's probably going to be another choice barrow in that group. Choice will stay home for him. And there's about 6 gilts in there that I'd be proud to show any one of them. I mean, they're just that consistent, and it's going to be interesting to watch them guys grow. We do have another red litter, another full sister. Actually, she is a litter mate sister to Kevin Zurcher's gilt there that we sold, and she was bred to He's the Future there at Schaefer's Gold Rush, and they're a little bit younger. They were born 17th of February, and again, the people who got these August and September fairs, these little red guys are, I can't say enough about my red crop this year. We had a pretty good crop last year, but these guys are just, this crop is just, it's amazing. I'm very tickled with them. We come in and we kind of round out February here. We've got a purebred Yorkshire litter out of Mai Tai. They're at Lean Value Sires. Out of probably a really good female. Actually goes back to our genetics on both sides, because we had bred a boar that we put down at Doc Sherritt's house called Stretch. And we kept several Stretch females, and boy, could they lay down and raise pigs. So unfortunately, they didn't keep him around long enough to have people use him. But the ones who did, they have a bunch of daughters out of him, and so do we. So these hogs are good. They're thick. They're big boned. They're going to be great for these later fairs. The Yorkshire Barrows in there, they're growing really good. It's going to be nice for, again, August and September fairs for these kind of pigs. The gilts in there are going to be neat. I'd like to see some of these guys get shown at some of these later shows this fall and see what they could do. Then we've got 2 March litters there. I've got 2 crossbred litters. Another one out of my tie, out of a 225K sow. Those hogs look nice, good color patterns on them. They're blue. She's all black, but it's funny because they come out white and with some blue on them. So I thought that was interesting. Then we got a blue butt litter that we round out like March 11th. They'll be for sale later in April, 1st of May. That's a good solid litter. They're out with another amped up sow, and those amped up sows have done a nice job for me raising good quality pigs, and I can't wait to see them when they get a little older. That pretty much rounds out our group. We hopefully will sell in that 40 to 45 range there on the 18th, and that's typically our sweet spot. We try to have that 40 to 50 range, and that's about all we want to sell.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I was going to ask you how many are you going to have, and
yeah.
So that's great. Yeah, because it sounds like you got a lot of litters there to sell a lot of pigs out of. So,
yeah.
Well, cool. Good deal. 40 to 45 pigs, and again, want to invite everybody over to Conover, Ohio, for our Canada people and our Ireland people and even Jamaica listeners that we have. Where is Conover, Ohio? Where's it at?
I always tell people we're in God's country, but I think God's country is everywhere.
That narrows it down.
we are about 40 miles north of Dayton, Ohio. We're right off Interstate 75. We're in I would say we're, like I said, 40 miles from Dayton. We're probably right at a little over an hour from Richmond, Indiana. We're kind of in a good spot here because we're kind of in the western part of Ohio a little bit there, west central part. So, I mean, we can get to Indianapolis and Indiana in like 2 hours. So, I mean, we're like 9 miles from Interstate 75. So we're kind of in a sweet spot here, I think.
About 3 hours from Louisville for the southern people.
Yep. About 3 hours from Louisville. Yep.
2 hours-ish from Cincinnati or so.
Yep. And we're about an hour and 15 minutes from Columbus. So you know, we're not terribly far. I mean, when you're buying livestock, 3 hours is nothing.
Right. Well, good. Can you get them some pictures, some videos of these pigs? What do you guys do with that?
Yeah. We have a January litter of Yorkshires that we're going to sell. We've got 3 barrows in that Yorkshire litter. They're born January 20th. They're sired by Oh Yeah from Thompson Brothers, and they are out of she is one of the last oldest direct descendants of our foundation of females that we've had here, and we're going to keep the females back, obviously, to put back in the herd. But we've got 3 pretty dandy barrows that we're going to sell here, and we're going to get them pictured this weekend. We've got some pictures done now, but if you've ever pictured pigs, it's a fun time, especially if you have your wife out there. It really tests your marriage. And I'm sure a lot of people know what I'm talking about. But actually, my son's been helping me, and he doesn't complain too much. So it's kind of cool. We're gonna try to get them guys pictured this weekend and get them all up, and that way for people to see and go from there. I mean, we're gonna sell them guys off the farm, and it's kind of a first come first served basis. But there's 3 barrows in there, and I think they're all 3 unique in there, and I think they can offer people. I think they can offer a variety of July fairs in there. And there's even there's one guy in there that's probably just a tad smaller than the other one, and his body style is a little different. He would probably be one to slow grow for Columbus. He would be just kind of way they're made, and the boar that they're out of, they're pretty much would be right for that.
Right. good deal. Yeah. So, and you'll put those up on your Facebook page at Wintrow,
Yeah.
Wintrow Show Pigs.
Yep. Yep.
Probably have them on your own page too, and yeah, to go back to your Facebook page just a little bit. You've posted a lot of stuff on some feeds and different things like that. So it's an education looking through that Facebook page as well.
Yep. We try to. A lot of feed companies are doing how-to videos, which I think is a great idea for all the feed companies. And I try to keep abreast of all the Sunglow stuff that's coming up, and then the how-to stuff. Everybody feeds these feeds a little different, and we've had our Sunglow meetings this spring there and over by Indianapolis, and we're trying to get feeding strategies with no paline in them, and I think we've kind of got things accomplished pretty good. And we're going to be helping our customers with no paline feeding strategies, because everybody in Ohio, unfortunately, Ohio had to be the knee-jerk state. And some of the counties are allowing paline, but you got to take your animals home and market them themselves. And then some of the counties you got to sign your affidavit and put your hogs on the truck. So we're going to try to help both ways out and see what we can't get accomplished.
Yeah, one of the things that's changed the show pig world and coming up this summer. So it'll be interesting to see all of those things. And so commend you guys on putting those together. So
Yeah.
Chris, well, I appreciate you coming on here on Before the Bid, and I want to wish you great success with that sale there on Saturday, April the 18th in Conover, Ohio, and just wish you luck with that. And sounds like you got some great things going on there, and really proud of those. Sounds like you're really proud of those animals, and you should be.
Yeah.
And so just want to wish you luck with all of that, and want to thank you for being here with us on Before the Bid.
And I thank you too, Andy. It's been fun.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And again, guys, go to Wintrow Show Pigs, and you can get some information there, or you can go and follow Chris Wintrow. You can see the ads on there. You can see all those updates on the Genetic Power Pig Sale that, if everything goes right, will be held Saturday, April 18th at Conover, Ohio, and you can find that address and more information out on those Facebook pages. And again, we want to thank Chris for being our guest tonight. And we want to thank you for listening to another edition of Before the Bid. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.